Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the final detailed webinar regarding the 2015 ELCA Youth Gathering in Detroit. My name is Natalie Young, and I am joined here by Molly Beck-Dean and a couple of other gathering staff members. So we've put together a brief presentation for you this evening that hopefully answers most of your questions. We also took questions online over the weekend from you, and so we've incorporated some of those answers into this presentation. But if you think of things that maybe were not addressed, feel free to type them into the questions box and we'll respond to those at the end of the presentation. So before you begin your journey to Detroit, there are a couple of things that are very important for your group to consider, and Molly is going to begin by speaking with you about group covenants.
We really hope that a part of your group's getting ready for the gathering has been to create a covenant together. If you haven't done that as a group yet, the Lesson 6 Getting Ready materials has some resources to help you with that. So please take some time to covenant with each other about behavior and how you're going to function as an intentional Christian community your days in Detroit. Another thing that the gathering has provided for you is a commissioning litany. We hope that you'll take time during worship one of these upcoming weekends that your congregation will bless and send you on the way. And again, that litany can be found on the resources page on our website.
Last week, each of the gathering primary leaders received an email from our staff instructing you to log back into your congregation's account to access your final confirmation letter. And so that letter has lots of helpful information for your group, including your daily rotation schedule, how many youth and adult participants you have registered, your Proclaim Justice Day launch information, your Proclaim Story Day location assignment, and some instructions on how to find your specific ballroom space. And so you'll need to make sure to log in if you haven't already to print that final confirmation. You'll want to bring it with you on site in Detroit, and actually attached to the bottom of your confirmation letter is a copy of the daily schedule. Also on our resources page, you'll need to print and complete a medical release and liability form for each of both your adult and youth participants. Please note that we will not collect those forms at any time, but you must have them with you because before different activities, we might ask you to produce them to make sure they're completed with you. Also on the resources page, there is a packing list, and there are specific instructions for things you need to bring for each of the program days. On the Proclaim Justice Day, you'll want to make sure that you bring your orange gathering t-shirt that is mailed to your, has already been mailed to your congregation. If not, please note those final shipments are going out this week. Closed-toed shoes, sunscreen, water bottle, knee-length shorts or long pants, as well as every participant needs to bring a pair of work gloves. On your Proclaim Story Day, you'll want to make sure you bring your gathering Bible and a writing utensil along with a water bottle. And then your Proclaim Community Day, closed-toed shoes again, your water bottle, your gathering Bible that you'll personalize at Kobo, and a smartphone if available. Many congregations will be arriving in advance of the official opening of the gathering on Wednesday evening. And so this gathering is different than previous ones in that the on-site check-in will happen at your hotel. So once you arrive in Detroit, you do not need to come down to the convention center, but simply proceed to your property. If you are there beginning Tuesday, you can check in with Community Life volunteers between 1 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. So those Community Life volunteers will be in the lobby of your hotel, and you'll check in with those folks to receive your participant wristbands, Bibles, adult reader guidebooks, and maps. Then on Wednesday, check-in will happen all day between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And so if your hotel has responded to you with a confirmation of your reservation, you'll want to make sure that you bring that with you because it will help in checking in with hotel staff. If your hotel has not already contacted you with a confirmation, it is fine to go ahead and give them a call. Make sure that you indicate you're with the ELCA Youth Gathering room block, and make sure that you also have your 5-digit congregation ID number handy.
If you're one of the congregations using gathering transportation, there will be shuttles from hotel properties to downtown at the Cobo Convention Center. On Wednesday, that transportation will look like a loop service that will go from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then in addition to that, each hotel property will have a scheduled final pickup for their right before their evening program begins in Ford Field. Also on Wednesday, our community life options will be open starting at 11 a.m. at Cobo, and Cobo is the shorthand that we've been using for the convention center in Detroit, right along the riverfront there. And so community life activities will be available at the Cobo Convention Center starting at 11 a.m. and finishing at 4 p.m. And then a Wednesday night, Ford Field will open at 5:30, and concessions will be sold until 7:30. We'll have music from a DJ from 5:30 to 7, and then artists will be performing on a satellite stage from 7 to 7:30. At 7:30, our house band begins, and concessions will close. Please note that 7:30 is when concessions close, even if there are people in line. 7:30 is the time. And then at 8 o'clock, the main mass gathering programming begins. Just wanted to take some time and run through each of our program days with you. The first one we're going to talk a little bit about is Proclaim Justice, and this is our day of service learning in the city of Detroit. There's an orientation video that is now available on the ELCA's YouTube channel. We expect that all adult leaders will take some time to view that video, and the great thing about it being a video this year is that you can show it to all of your participants, and you can even review it the night before as you do closing night devotions. You can review it one more time with your group. So that is available on the YouTube channel right now. Proclaim Justice buses will be launching from Hart Plaza. As Natalie was talking about in your confirmation letter, there is an indication of a letter and the number. So if you are launch A, you need to be in Hart Plaza by 8:45. If you're launch B, you need to be at Hart Plaza by 10:15. The number is associated with what bus you will be on for Proclaim Justice, and you'll be greeted by servant companions in Hart Plaza that will be holding signs with your bus number on them, so you just need to find the servant companion that has your bus number sign, and then they will take care of you from there. Your Proclaim Justice service site will be revealed on the bus. Everybody has the same kind of packing list and attire for Proclaim Justice Day, so if you go with what Natalie went over on the packing list, then you will be prepared for your Proclaim Justice Day. Your servant companion will lead you through that reveal and take good care of you that day. Lunch, a box lunch is provided as part of your Proclaim Justice Day. It's your basic kind of box lunch, a sandwich, chips, apple, and you will need your water bottle with you for a beverage. And just a reminder again to bring that orange t-shirt, closed-toed shoes, knee-length shorts or pants, and work gloves, and of course your water bottle with you. Proclaim Community Day is our day of interactive learning and faith formation, and Proclaim Community is based out of Cobo Convention Center. Proclaim Community opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m. Now, Proclaim Community is one of your assigned days of the rotation, but congregations will have access to the Interactive Center and the other program community venues all 3 days. Again, some important things to bring with you for Proclaim Community Day are Bibles, closed-toed shoes, and if you are planning on donating blood, or if any of your eligible teens are planning on donating blood, be sure that you have that consent form with you and filled out.
Your Proclaim Story Day is also known as your Synod Day. And so if you take a look at your final confirmation letter, you will notice your location for that day and specific instructions on what ballroom space you'll be in at that property. And so doors will open at 12:30 p.m. that day, and official programming is at 1 p.m. So between 1 and 4, you're expected to be there with your synod and worshiping with your bishop. But if you had questions about when during your time in Detroit you would have some free time and be open to explore the city and all it has to offer, the morning of your Proclaim Story is that day. So we encourage you to make plans to, again, explore the city and check out all it has to offer. You'll want to bring your gathering Bible with you that day, as well as a writing utensil.
If you've been to gatherings in the past, you will discover that community life is being done a little differently this time around. Community life will take place the entire day, and we'll have 3 main venues. Community life will start at the Cobo Convention Center at 8 a.m. With worship and a Good Morning America-esque show called Rise Up Detroit. And then throughout the day, there'll be a variety of different opportunities for rest, for play, for worship, for prayer, all sorts of different things that you can take part in the Cobo Convention Center. Right across the street from Cobo is the Crown Plaza Hotel, and the Crown Plaza will be hosting a really neat venue for community life. There'll be burgers and dogs on the grill that you can purchase for your group. There'll be local artisans there displaying their artwork, and there'll be live music. So that'd be a great place to go and hang out, to grab lunch, and kind of see some of the local artists. Cobo Convention Center Community Life runs from 8 a.m. to about 4 p.m., and then Community Life's focus shifts over to the GM Renaissance Center, which is a hotel just a couple of blocks down the main street in Detroit. And at the GM Renaissance Center, there'll be more community life opportunities from 5 to about 7 p.m. And this is where things like the dance and the silent disco that many were talking about on Facebook, concerts, fun houses, those kind of things will be at the GM Renaissance from 5 to 7. And then by 7 o'clock, we know that folks will be heading to Ford Field to claim their spots for the mass gathering. Just also wanted to highlight that a part of community life will be some baggage storage that will happen at Cobo. The community life team has asked that if congregations can limit it to 1 or maybe 2 extra bags to keep there, that would really help. They have a lot of space, but the space isn't unlimited. So if you want to bring an extra bag of, extra shirts or, just kind of baby wipes or whatever you're going to need for your day, there will be a spot to store extra baggage. We've gotten a lot of questions about food in Detroit. There are lots of great restaurants downtown Detroit that we know that you'll take the time to explore. The Detroit Convention and Visitors Bureau has worked up a program called Show and Save, and so there'll be a couple of dozen restaurants that you will show your gathering wristband on and receive a discount for eating in their venues because you are a gathering participant. There are also food options at 3 of our main venues. There are 2 food courts at Cobo, and there will also be a variety of food carts at Cobo that you can purchase food at. There'll be a few food vendors at Hart Plaza, especially for those morning Proclaim Justice Days. You will be able to buy some food at Hart Plaza in the morning. And then for the first time in the gathering's history, the concessions will be open at Ford Field. We don't have a list of all the exact costs and menu items, but we have been encouraging vendors to look for grab-and-go meals that are around the $10 price point. We would encourage you to think both cash and credit cards to have the ability to pay with both. At Ford Field, you can expect stadium prices, so probably a little bit steeper than what you would get somewhere else. But there is a pretty great variety at Ford Field. And at Cobo and Ford Field, there are options for gluten-free folks and vegetarians.
The Youth Gathering has partnered with the Detroit Convention and Visitors Bureau to provide, oh, I'm sorry, these are different shuttles. So I was going to talk a little bit about your airport shuttles, but this slide that we're showing you now is about the daily shuttles. And so we asked congregations to let us know if they had their own transportation or if they wanted to use the daily shuttles that are being provided. And so if your congregation responded that yes, you would be using the Gathering provided daily shuttles, you will be receiving a special transportation wristband for each of your participants upon check-in. So each hotel property will be assigned a specific morning departure time, and so your group will need to be available and ready to board your bus in the morning to come downtown. It's important that you note that we are providing one shuttle into and then out of downtown Detroit each day. So in the morning, we'll pick you up from your hotel and then drop you off down at Cobo. And in the evening, hotel shuttles will depart from the GM Renaissance Center lots. Please note, if you are a congregation staying at Wayne State, in the evening, your shuttle will depart from Cobo Convention Center.
We've also gotten a lot of questions about parking, and that was something that the Gathering committed to helping you find. As of today, we have a lot of that information, so the wait is over. If you are following us on Facebook, you saw that the announcement about our free lot has been released. There will be a free parking lot at the Masonic Temple. It's a pretty big space. It's, they figure about 150 cars and 150 buses, so it's a big space. But it is a first-come, first-served lot. The Masonic Temple lot is 24 hours and is a secure parking lot. Also today on our website, under the Resources tab, we posted a document that has other parking options that the Gathering Transportation team has put together a great list of of other parking options, and they've even gone to the trouble of kind of listing what kind of vehicles can be parked there and what the daily rate you can expect is. One of the things that we aren't 100% clear on in that form is if lots take credit cards or just cash, so we are suggesting that you come prepared to do both.
Okay, and so now we're going to talk a little bit about the airport shuttles. We ask congregations to go online to our website and make a reservation if you needed transportation between the airport and your property. And so we partnered with the Detroit Convention and Visitors Bureau to provide this service free to participants. We stopped accepting reservations on June 12th. And so you should have received a confirmation from TMS. If you have any questions, if you haven't received a confirmation or if something was incorrect on your confirmation, you can contact TMS directly. We have a link up on the screen now, but also if you go to our website and visit the transportation page, you can go back directly to TMS's website, and there's an email address there as well. If someone in your congregation requires special transportation accommodations, you'll be able to contact the transportation team's office to request those special accommodations. If you have trouble finding that number for whatever reason, you can contact the Community Life Volunteer. They will have access to it. But also, every participant will have a phone number that is staffed 24 hours a day on their wristband. And so if you call that number, we will connect you with the transportation team and you'll be able to make those arrangements. If you have questions now or on site at the Gathering about transportation, we have an email address here up on your screen, which is ygtransportation2015@gmail.com. And you're welcome to email the transportation team at any time with questions you may have. So here are a few reminders for you. As we've mentioned several times now, you are required to wear a bright orange t-shirt for your Proclaim Justice Day, and that's for the safety of our participants so we can see where they're at in the city during the day. So most t-shirts have already been shipped to congregations, but those final shipments are going out this week, and so you should have them by the end of June. On site in Detroit, Old Lutheran will have a store at the Cobo Convention Center. So if you made, for example, a last-minute substitution and you need a different t-shirt size, you can bring your unworn t-shirts to the store to exchange it, or you can purchase t-shirts on site in Detroit. Please note there's a limited number available, so you'll want to make sure you find that store as soon as possible if you do require a change. If you have any questions between now and the gathering with any aspects of your planning, we encourage you to reach out to your gathering synod coordinator, who is a resource person in your synod. If you visit the homepage of our website, you can email them directly from a Dropbox. And because our small staff here in Chicago at the gathering office is so busy right now, we encourage you to reach out to your synod coordinator first, because it is likely that you will receive a response from them quicker than us at this point. Most of you know that the deadline to complete additions or cancellations to your congregation's registration was May 15th, and so at this point, the only adjustment you can make to your online account is a substitution. And so you can complete that at any time by logging back into your congregation's account. You'll need to select the edit button next to a participant's name, and then you can insert the new participant's name in that space. And again, like we mentioned before, you can't adjust your t-shirt size at this point because we've shipped most of them, but if you require a different size, you'll need to do that on site in Detroit. And we've also seen some chatter online about congregations wanting to make substitutions or trade spaces between congregations or even across synods. But we need you to know we unfortunately can't accommodate that kind of change at this point because numbers, especially regarding your Proclaim Justice Day, have been finalized, and so we have these final counts of how many people will be on which buses, and the lunches are delivered to the buses. And so we ask that you not sell wristbands or try to make those kinds of exchanges. If you have questions about substitutions, you can go ahead and contact your synod coordinator or us directly. But we wanted to answer that for those of you who have been asking.
Just one note about the PowerPoint before we go through this last slide is we will post the PowerPoint and the audio of this webinar. And once we post that online, you'll be able to click through to these links and get the information listed. So just don't worry if you're clicking on it and it's going nowhere right now. You'll be able to do that once we upload it. A couple other reminders is to make sure that your participants, both youth and adults, download the Gathering app. This will be a really important tool for you as an adult leader and for your adult and young people to help them navigate the gathering experience. Especially with a digital app, we can update information. You can receive push notifications of important announcements. So that is going to be a really important tool for you to have in Detroit. Reminder to invite your family and friends and congregation to join you at the gathering via our live stream, which will be available on our homepage of the website. And we'll be live streaming things like the morning show I referred to earlier, and then each night the mass gatherings in Ford Field. If you haven't already, make sure to follow us on our various social media platforms, which you can find at the Gatherings website, and our hashtag across all platforms is RiseUpELCA. Okay, we are going to take some questions now. Should I start with these? So some of the questions that may not have been answered via the PowerPoint. Somebody posted, I do not see my synod on the list for the Proclaim Justice Day. If you posted that, please message us for more information because we're not exactly sure what you mean. So maybe you meant Proclaim Story Day, but anyway, we'd be happy to help you. So if you posted that, please let us know. Another question, our group is assigned to Wayne State University on the last day after worship. Will there be a shuttle returning to Wayne State to meet our ride? If you requested it via the sign-up link that was available until earlier this month, then yes, there will be a shuttle back to Wayne State. A couple of you have asked that some of you are young people do not have a driver's license. Will a school photo ID do, will that be okay for the ID needed? And yes, it should be just fine. One note about parking ramps, and again, it says that in the handout, but just to remember, if you're coming in at a 15-passenger van, most 15-passenger vans do not fit in parking ramps. So you might want to set your sights on one of those flat lots. Another question, we will have a 15-passenger van. Where will our parking be and costs for parking? Again, that information is now on the resources page of our website. And it says, will we need to use our van for Justice Day or will we be riding on a bus? This is important. Every gathering participant goes to their Proclaim Justice Service site on a gathering bus. Nobody uses their own transportation. So no matter how you're getting to Detroit or if you've indicated you're using gathering transportation for other ways, everybody uses gathering buses to get to their Proclaim Justice site. Then I had a couple of questions about the Masonic Temple, that your Synod Day is at Masonic Temple, and perhaps you've Googled it and they've gotten a caution, may not contain sidewalks or pedestrian paths. Please know that we have been in contact with the Detroit Police Department and have established a safe walking route for you, and that will be available on the map that you'll receive upon check-in. And so the transportation team and our Proclaim Story team and our safety and security team have all been very aware of the construction that's happening and have worked out a safe walking path for you. The Gathering Transportation team is happy to assist in transportation for anybody who has mobility issues and needs to get to the Masonic Temple. And if you can give them advance requests, that would be very helpful, and you can use that email that we showed you earlier in the presentation. Another question, I understand that there will be space in the Cobo Convention Center to store luggage. Do we need a reservation, and what time do we need to retrieve our luggage? You do not need a reservation for Sunday luggage storage, and the hours for Sunday luggage storage are 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Another question, can guests not registered for the conference attend closing worship? There will be a limited number of tickets that will be handed out for those wanting to come to Sunday worship, and folks who would like one of those tickets can get one or at least get information on where to receive one at the info booth in Cobo Convention Center. But a question regarding arriving by the train and needing transportation. Gathering is not providing transportation from any of the train stations, and so on our FAQ page there are a few options listed of local services that you can hire to take you from the train station to your hotel. Scoot is one of them, the Detroit Bus Company is one of them, and there are names and numbers and emails and all that good stuff on our FAQ page. Is there going to be a hair donation station at Cobo? Yes, there will be. All right, now we're going to turn to some of the questions that you have been submitting. So we are answering these on the fly, so bear with us. Natalie, do you want to?
Okay, we have a question from Megan asking if the whole group needs to be present and check in, and the answer to that is at least one adult leader, preferably your primary adult leader, needs to come to check your group in, and they will receive materials for your entire group. And if you have a larger group, you'll want to know that you're going to be receiving, that means Bibles and guidebooks and materials for your entire group. So you might want someone else with you to help carry those back to your hotel rooms. There's a question about if gathering shuttles leave at 10 a.m., that means you don't leave your hotel till 10 a.m. And I think Anastasia's asking about Wednesday, the loop that's going. And so if you have your own transportation, you're welcome to go downtown at your earliest convenience. But if you're relying on gathering shuttles, the loop doesn't begin until 10 a.m. And so, yes, the earliest you'd be able to head downtown is 10 a.m. Do you need a wristband for the loop? Yes, you will need your gathering transportation wristband and your participant wristband to get downtown to board the bus. They will check your wrist to make sure you have a transportation wristband, and you will need that for each day. We have a question from Paul about the size of the Gathering Bible. I wonder if this comes out of concern because of the 2009 Jesus Justice Jazz, about 5-pound Bible. The response is that these are the smaller versions. I believe the measurements are 3 by 5. There's some, yeah, or 4 by 6. We're kind of looking around. And so we are excited to show you those Bibles because they are customizable for participants. And so yes, every participant will receive one of those smaller Gathering Bibles. From Paul again, will participants receive a day pack or should we bring our own backpacks? And so the Gathering this year has elected not to provide backpacks to participants because there are a couple of reasons, but one being you're going to be away from your property for the majority of the day unless you have your own transportation. And we know that many of you already own sturdy backpacks, and so we want you to bring those with you because it will be large enough to carry whatever items you might need throughout the day. So no, the Gathering will not be providing backpacks, and you'll need to bring your own with you.
A question from Julie. Will we walk to Hart Plaza from the Ford Field area if we drive a van or drive to Hart Plaza, and where would we park? I'm not 100% sure what this question means. There is no parking at Hart Plaza. There is some ramp parking at Ford Field, and so on your Proclaim Justice Day, you will have to walk to Hart Plaza from wherever you park your vehicle. Hope that answers your question, Julie. If not, go ahead and type it in again and I'll take another stab at it. What will lunch, Vicki says, what will lunch be that day as we have some food allergies in our group? It will be a sandwich. There's a meat sandwich, and then there is a vegetarian gluten-free wrap. And hopefully you indicated that, those dietary needs when you registered. If folks have other dietary needs, they will want to pack food. So if they can't have a meaty sandwich or a gluten-free vegetarian sandwich that you already indicated on your registration, then they should probably pack food. When we are done, Vicki asks, when we're done with our servant project, where will we be taken? You will be dropped off, again, Vicki, in the vicinity of Hart Plaza and the Cobo Convention Center. So right, they're within a block of each other. So you'll be dropped off there. Proclaim Justice projects will end, and you should be back to Cobo by 5 o'clock.
We have a question from Andrea regarding the orange t-shirts your congregation received. And the answer is yes, your t-shirts are printed correctly. If the logo should be a large print on the front, and on the back we kind of wanted it to be off to the side so you could see the Gatherings logo and that stamp. So yes, your t-shirts are printed correctly. Sorry for the confusion though. If we have a question from Marcella. If we arrive after the hotel check-in ends at 5:30 on Tuesday, that means that you will have to wait until 8 a.m. on Wednesday to check in your group with community life volunteers. Kelsey is asking if there's a devotional already written, and I think she's talking about the first and final 15, and the response to that is yes. Both of them are printed in your Bible, and so each participant will have one of those, and we're excited for you to read and use them with your congregations each morning and each evening. It looks like we have lots more questions about IDs, when the ID is needed, what if you don't have it, do you need it at any time? And the response to that would be it is smart to have them with you at all times, especially congregations who are staying at Wayne State University for the Multicultural Youth Leadership event. Every participant is required to produce that upon check-in before you receive a key to your room at Wayne State University. So MILE participants, make sure that you have a picture ID with you. Jessica has a question about diapers. Your community life volunteers are ready and excited to accept those donations in the lobby of your hotel, and so bring them with you when you're checking in on Tuesday and Wednesday. They will be collected, and then one of the Proclaim Justice experiences on Friday is that congregations who are assigned to this specific project will be going around to each property and collecting those and carrying them back to one space together.
Deaconess Carmen asks, will concessions accept the Visa gift cards? I would say that concessions at the Cobo Center food courts and at Ford Field will accept the Visa gift cards. I can't guarantee that the more kind of like food trucks outside in Hart Plaza will accept them. Also from Carmen, is the commission litany available in Spanish? It is not, sorry. Marianne, when will we know if our group was chosen for assisting with communion on Sunday? That information has already been sent out. My assumption is that if you didn't get an email, you were not chosen. Sorry. Jenny asks, when and where is orientation for leader training? Great question, Jenny. This is also happening via video this year. And so right now, this will be a series of videos, actually. Right now, the first two videos in this series are on the ELCA YouTube channel. And so we encourage you as a primary adult leader to certainly go through this information and watch these videos and to share them with your other adult and maybe even youth participants. Like I said, right now, there are two up there right now. There is for sure one more, maybe two more coming in the days leading up to the gathering. So just keep checking back to the YouTube channel, and we'll also be sure to post on Facebook when more videos are loaded. Another question, will those staying at Wayne State University have special wristbands for transportation? The short answer is yes. There'll be 3 different colors of transportation wristbands, and one of those colors will be solely for folks going to Wayne State. Wow, you guys have lots of good questions. All right. Let's see. Brian asks, the hotel shuttles are running 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, July 15th. For some hotels, check-in is at 3 p.m., so catching the shuttle might depending on other options. Yeah, Brian, there will be a final scheduled departure on Wednesday from every hotel property, and this scheduled departure will get you out of there a little bit later than 4, but still in time to keep or to attend the opening of Ford Field. When you stated the, from Carmen, when you stated the live stream would be found on the homepage, did you mean the elca.org page? We mean our gathering homepage, so that's elca.org/gathering. The extra lots listed in the parking resources document, this is from Eric, doesn't mention prices for those lots. Are they cheap or free? They are not free, Eric, but you can guess that those extra lots would be somewhere in the range of $8 to $20 a day.
We have a question from Julie about transportation on Proclaim Justice Day. It says, will that be from our hotel if we have driven our own vehicle and did not need transportation, or will we need to drive to parking near Cobo Ford Field and walk to Hart Plaza? The response is yes. If you are driving yourselves, we ask that you not try to drop off participants in the Hart Plaza area because buses will be there and there will be a lot of activity, and so if you can drop your participants off at Cobo or Ford Field and walk to Hart Plaza, that's ideal. What's the best way to get...
They won't all use gathering transportation from the hotel on Proclaim Justice Day. They have to get themselves to Hart Plaza.
Right. If you have not signed up to use gathering transportation, you do need to get yourself downtown that day on your Proclaim Justice Day as well. Julie's asked, what's the best way to get from Coba to Ford Field? Public transportation, walking, or will there be shuttles? and it is less than a mile between those two venues, and so most participants will be walking. And there will also be a courtesy shuttle available on a loop in the evening. If we're staying in a hotel downtown, is there parking available through the hotel? Michelle, we would say to contact your hotel directly and ask them that question. They will be able to give you the most accurate information regarding what's available at that specific property and what the costs might be associated with that. Lindsay asked, our hotel is the Marriott downtown. Did we negotiate a parking price for that hotel? And again, that was not in our contracts with the property, and so they will have their own prices and availability set, so you should contact the Marriott and ask them that directly. Will there be someone to follow or guide us for first time ever to attend groups? My group is fearful and you've never been to the group. And so we would suggest what you can do today or tomorrow is to contact your gathering Sunday coordinator and maybe ask some of those specific questions that you have. But you will see gathering volunteers everywhere you look on site, including at your property. So the first place you go is your community life volunteers, and they're more than happy to assist you with any questions that you have. But we will have on brightly marked t-shirts, and so we want to answer any questions that you have, and you can feel free to reach out to us on social media between now and then, or even on site, and ask whatever questions you have. Is there digital access to Final 15 to give parents ahead of time? And that comes from Sarah, and we're going to let Molly answer that one.
The first and Final 15 will be in the Gathering app ahead of time. If you need it before it makes the app, just let us know and we can get you a copy of that ahead of time. But it will be in the app that you can use. Oh, and Michael says we can post it online too, so that sounds great. We'll post it online. Good idea, Sarah. A question from Gail. Can you talk a bit about the security walking around downtown? We're particularly wondering about the walk to the Rensen lots from Ford Field because it will be evening. Yep, we have our safety and security team is on it, Gail. Please don't worry about it. The city of Detroit is actually going to close Brush Street, which is the suggested walking path from Ford Field to the Rensen lots, and so that lot or that street will be closed and blocked off, and so our kids can walk safely down Brush Street, and then there'll be traffic cops helping them cross the main road of Jefferson there, and then they just walk along the sidewalks. And so, I mean, generally with safety, walking around Detroit, there'll be some great safety tips in the guidebook and on the app for just kind of regular city smarts about things to pay attention to, what to do if folks ask you for money, just some of those kind of, you're in an urban center, how do we stay safe? So there's lots of good tips in the guidebook, which you will get upon check-in. If we arrive after check-in on Tuesday, I understand we check in, but we will not be able to check into our hotel rooms Tuesday night. No, you can check into your hotel rooms whenever you get there. The front desks are open 24 hours a day, so you can check into your hotel whenever you get there, but you'll have to check in with the gathering on Wednesday morning, Christy. So thank you for that clarifying question. Another question about ID from Carmen. If they don't have any form of ID, if you are not a mile participant, I wouldn't worry about it. If you are a mile participant and they don't have a photo ID, you can get one from your library maybe, or the school, or the DMV. There are some options. You might want to just Google where to get an ID in your community. When we register at a hotel, will those registration staff persons be staying at a hotel? Yes, they will. Every hotel has a community life hotel staff person or two, and they will be available all week to answer your questions. A lot of them will even give you their cell phone number when you check in, so you can call them day or night. That's why we love them. Since we are flying in, can we bring a cash or check donation for the diaper project? I think we requested that checks for the diaper project be mailed in ahead of time. There will not be a place for us to receive cash or checks, donations for the diaper project on site. So if you go to our website under giving opportunities, you'll be able to see the address to mail that check for the diaper donation, Gail, and that is awesome. From Jessica, is there a location where we can cash checks from our congregation, and what will the hours be? Your congregation has a mission investment fund account, then yes, you can cash checks in the MIF Service Center starting on Monday, and the hours are generally from 10 to 4, and they are open Monday through Saturday. They are not open on Sunday, so you want to get cash on Saturday.
Christy's asking about the check-in process, and so we want to clarify that there are two kinds of check-ins that you're going to do at your hotel when you arrive, and so it's up to you, whatever order you choose to do them in, but you're going to need to check in with the hotel property itself to get situated with your rooms, and then you need to also check in with community life volunteers to receive your wristbands and gathering materials. And so allow yourself plenty of time to get to your property if you're coming in, especially on Wednesday, to get all of that done and then board a bus to come downtown. It looks like some of you have contacted your hotels in the meantime and got prices for parking, so that's great. There's a question from Brian about the Gathering app. And so you'll want to search, the app itself is called Guidebook. And then once you've downloaded that app, the ELCA has a youth gathering sub-app where we're looking around for the language regarding that. And so you can search for the ELCA, and then you'll see the Youth Gatherings Rise Up app in that. And so the one, it's called Guidebook, so you'll want to look for that first. But there are links to it on our Facebook page and in the G News and in the PowerPoint presentation from earlier. And we're going to post that online very soon here. We have a question from Carmen. What if you do not know if you signed up for return transportation to Wayne State on the last day? You can contact us, but if you log into your account and click on the congregation details button, you should be able to see if you've selected it or not. You can also email the transportation team at that address that we shared with you earlier. We have, Michelle, we have cases of diapers to donate. That's awesome, Michelle. We're really excited about that. Will the representative at the hotel be able to handle large quantities? Yes. So our community life team has worked with the properties to identify a space where they can collect those items. So again, on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm sure you'll want to hand them over as soon as you arrive in Detroit. So give those to the community life volunteers, and they will store them until they are to be picked up later in the week.
Brian asks, is an ID required part for a packing list and all participants? I think the short answer to that is no, Brian. It's not required, but we're certainly encouraging young people to carry ID with them. So it is a mandatory item for people staying at Wayne State University who are a part of the Mile event, and it is a highly suggested item for everybody else. Question for Marianne. Will the food court in the Ren-Sen be fully open for all meals? At Extravaganza, not all the food court vendors were open. Don't we know it, Marianne? We have asked and pleaded with the Marriott Ren-Sen and its restaurants. We've really communicated with them the need for all those vendors to be open all the time. That's what we can tell you. We've asked, and we hope that they will be open. But the good news is that there's lots of other places to get food. So if they don't open, then you have other options. From Judy, for the opening on Wednesday night at Ford Field, can we park there? You certainly can. On that downloadable parking info sheet, there's information about a ramp at Ford Field. Again, it's first come, first serve though, so get there fast. Oh, and then Vicki points out that ID is required if you're flying. It's a good idea, especially if you're flying. Sometimes I know TSA folks will let minors traveling with adults go without photo ID through airports, but really it's a good idea to have it with you. Michelle and Jessica say thank you, and you're welcome. Oh my gosh, we did it. We got through all your questions. Any final things you'd like to type in? See, I know there'd be a couple more I should have asked. No, I'm just kidding. In lesson 6 of the Getting Ready materials from Marianne, it states that no food or soft drinks are allowed. Is water okay? Oh, probably about Ford Field. There is no outside food allowed into Ford Field. Their rules, not ours. But you can bring in medically necessary snacks and a water bottle. How do I find transportation at the airport? From Courtney. Courtney, if you signed up for the airport shuttle, then you will be receiving an email from Transportation Management Services, and a part of that will be where you pick up your ride. If you don't get something, then email us and we'll figure it out. And/or we'll figure it out and post it on the website and Facebook anyway. Nicole asks how many people are going to be at the gathering this year. There are 30,000 of us, which is just awesome and amazing. So we are 30,000 strong. Thanks for asking, Nicole. Question from Patrick. Patrick, we recommend, you asked a question about you weren't clear about how you were going to get there, but now you're clear. Our recommendation is that you email the gathering transportation team to give them any kind of update in your transportation.
If you have more questions after today's webinar, where do you send them? So first we would direct you to your Gathering Synod coordinator, and again, you can email that person directly from the homepage of our website. There's a drop box, and you can email them directly. You can also contact the Gathering office, and so our email address is gathering@elca.org, and we ask with any communication you send us or your coordinator if you can provide your 5-digit ID number. That is very helpful for us when we're searching through the database. But you can also reach us pretty much any time of day, I'll venture out and say, on social media. I'm assuming that there is no need for a car once you are downtown. Detroit is very walkable between all of our major venues, and so yes, you will be able to walk anywhere you need to go, but you can also use the People Mover if you'd like to explore that. And you can learn more about that on the Convention and Visitor Bureau website, which is linked to from the Gatherings website. Will there be wireless at Kobo? Molly's shaking her head, yes, it may. And so you'll be able to access that, and we'll give you more information about logging that later. Okay, so it looks like we are ready to wrap up again then. And so thank all of you for joining us. We're really excited that you'll be with us in Detroit in just a few short weeks. We have our countdown here in the office. I'm excited to meet and be with all of you. And want to thank the rest of the Gathering staff who is here with us. And so again, Molly, myself, Natalie, we have Donna Weigel, Michael Deisting, our current director, Heidi Hagstrom, and then other folks who have partnered with us this evening, Paul Amlin and Todd Bugler. So we appreciate everyone partnering with us to get this information to you this evening. Again, if you have any questions after this, you can reach us on social media, via email, or first, we would love it if you would contact your Gathering Sitting Coordinator. They are ready and waiting to answer questions you might have. Thank you so much for joining us today, and this will be archived online and shared via social media soon. Have a great evening.